Hello everyone, welcome to yet another tutorial. This is the third part of this tutorial. We are looking at how to create a cart animation. We have done the rigging, and in this class we are going to follow how to do the animation. Uh, if you have not done the first two tutorials, look in the description to see how to model and rig the cart. In this class, we are going to focus on animation. All right. So now, if you have followed this tutorial, we have a cart and we have a rig setup so that this wheel is moving separately. Wheel is moving separately. This guy can move separately, and the whole cart is moving along this terrain. Okay, so if you see, if I move it up and move down, it sticks to the terrain. So now what we need is we need to create a hill for this cart to go down the hill. So what I'm going to do is add a lattice, and I'm going to scale the lattice only in X and Y, and in the lattice properties I will add a few segments in this direction. All right. Now I'll select the terrain, which is the plane, and in the modify panel I will apply the subdivision, and I will add lattice, and we will add our lattice. So now if I select the lattice and hit the tab key to go to the control tab, we can now create the hill. So we'll create this hill here, and this will be moving up and here. So there will be like a plane, and then it will speed up, and then we can say that this is much higher, and maybe this is higher. So we try to create some unevenness, and maybe like a valley. Maybe this is too down. So something like this looks good. Now you can see that I'll go back, and this terrain looks good. We need to move our cart up. Okay, so if you go beyond a certain point, the wheels will lift. So we have to make sure that the wheels are staying on the ground. All right. So uh, we will move this up, and we're going to create 120 frame animation. So I'll type 120 here, and we can zoom in and pan, so we only see 120 frames. We will bring this here on top and move it up until it hits the ground. All right, our cart is standing there, and what I'll do is I'll move the cart a little to the right. Okay, so that our camera will be at an angle, so it goes across the screen. Okay, so if you hit the 0 key, that is our camera. Select the camera, go to view and camera view, and zoom out, and we are going to simply create we're going to do 1280 by 720, but it doesn't really matter, the rectangle remains the same. So we'll zoom out a little bit so that things fit in the camera. So perhaps something like this is nice. Okay, we don't want too much to be missed here. So maybe we can move it something like this. Okay, so right, it starts here and then it will end somewhere here. So you can even move it a little right. Alright, so I like this camera angle. So what we will have to do is now bring these lattice points slightly up so that nothing is 0. We don't have any blank spot. Everything is covered by terrain. So this is good. Maybe this can come down, or it's okay. All right, so our plane is set. Now we will do keyframe for our object. So make sure that the object, all right, so that looks good. And then I will simply insert a keyframe for all the three properties and then go to 120 and move it in front and down and front, and we want to make sure that it is on the ground. Okay, then we'll say insert keyframe at 20, and at 6 before we go to 60 so we'll see 0, and this is our animation. The cart will come into the picture, and well, we will select the camera and try to rotate it so it grows across the screen. Alright, so this looks good. So it comes and goes across the screen. This is our animation. Let me get this. Okay, so now I'll select the arrow which we have animated at 120, and we will go to graph editor. Okay, and we don't want this to have a slow out. Okay, we want that animation to, the cart starts slowly and it keeps going. The aim is to understand that, we'll go back to timeline here, that the cart picks up speed. Okay, so if you play this, the cart comes and then it starts picking speed and then goes back. All right, so once that is done, we can go to say 60 and make sure that our wheels are touching the plane. Alright, so if you move this down, okay, so our animation is good. The cart is always on the ground, we have no issue, and it is moving up and down. We don't want at any time for the wheels to be above, so just make sure that here, see, so here we can add a keyframe, insert keyframe. So if it is touching the ground, then you don't have to worry about it, but otherwise you'll have to animate it. Okay, so again here there was some little issue. Okay, so this looks good. Now that is done. Now we will animate our rolling of the wheels, so of the cart. So we are going to, maybe it is slightly up. I'll say insert single keyframe this time and go to say 30, and because of the speed it goes up, and we will insert a single keyframe. At 60 it is going to pick up speed, so goes down, insert single keyframe. 90 it will speeding up, so go down, insert single keyframe, and 120 maybe it keeps going down, insert single keyframe. So if I go to 0, and play it, now you can see that. Okay, so this is not coming into the picture until 30, so I can select this key and put it at 30. Actually, we should start our animation at 30 and then it stops at 120. So maybe I need to bring my cart a little forward and replace keyframe. So I'll go to 0 and I will move this card completely out of the screen better. Replace keyframe. And it keeps going actually, so we are capturing it there. So this rotation can be moved at 75, this can be moved at 60. And this can be moved at say 45. So our animation will start much earlier and then we want that rotation of the wheel to happen and it will continue to go down. So that looks good. Now what we need is that this has to continuously animate its movement. So we are going to animate its Z property. So what I'll do is I'll go to frame number 1 and I'll say insert single key. Okay. Then we'll go to graph editor. Okay, and I'm going to use the Z location. Okay, which is this key. And hit the N key, go to modifier, and I'm going to add a noise modifier. And you can see that it has added noise to my Z key. If I play this, now my trolley is moving all the time. And then what I have done is, so before I fix anything else, we need to scale this so it so 2.5. Okay, and then it's moving too much, so the strength will be say zero point 0.5, much less. Okay, or we can make it 0.25 also. This one is moving too fast. Go to timeline. Here to here. So I'll select this key and delete the keyframe so it moves. Just want to make sure that it is on the ground. So insert keyframe. Okay. So if you play it now, you are going to get the rotation of this at 75. I will turn it up and replace keyframe, and then just to add drama it will come up for some reason. Okay, that's about it. So we have the animation done now. then it unnecessarily is increasing the speed. This change I made, even this key I'm not happy with. Delete keyframe, and I'll delete this also. And then we will reset that keyframes for making sure that it is on the ground. Insert keyframe. It is fine. That is fine too. Alright, so that looks good. So I'll make this small and then zoom in here, and then we will see that the cart is following the terrain and it's also shaking. Okay, so we can then again go to graph editor and try to increase the shake. Okay, so that looks better. It matches with the terrain. All right, in the next class, we will look at creating the particles. All right, thank you very much.